This is 40K Today. As fast as Harlequins, as tough as Iron Hands, as big as Imperial Knights, as loved as Tau.
Welcome to the 40K Today family. This is your daily 15-minute news, views, and interviews podcast that covers the entire hobby of Warhammer 40,000. I'm your host, John Damaris, and today on the program, we're going to check in with Adam Abramowitz from the Army Painter and their amazing Nordic Shield initiative. But before that, I sat down with Colin Sherman from BifPod to talk about their birthday and some possible new and exciting content coming from those guys in the near future. Just a friendly reminder that we are sponsoring a huge 40K giveaway with over $5,000 in prizes. You just have to go to 40kprizes.com to enter. You get 5 entries just for being a listener of this podcast. Make sure you listen to the end for the secret word to enter in the podcast site. Okay, I need to remind you all about our 40K Today poll question of the week, live on our Facebook page right now. And it's this: are you superstitious? Do you have lucky dice, or do you throw dice away when they roll poorly? We want to hear all about it. Almost 40% of you say you also are in fact superstitious, just like this guy, who may or may not have smashed a dice in front of the other dice with a hammer just so they knew what their future was if they failed to perform. So we want to hear your stories as well. Jump on our Facebook poll, add some comments. It's an excellent conversation. Those of you who are on the competitive 40K scene have probably heard of the Best in Faction podcast, and if you haven't, you should go check them out. They have some of the best competitively focused 40K content on the planet. BifPod just turned 2, and to celebrate, they had a legitimate party. They did a really cool thing where they had their patrons vote on their favorite guest hosts and then had a Twitch live stream for their birthday celebration where they shared stories and had some ridiculous shenanigans. Colin and I talk about what the impetus was, and Ian set more content like this to come in the future. Hey, Colin, welcome back to 40K Today. Super excited to have you. For people that don't know, Colin is on one of the best competitive 40K podcasts in the universe, the Best in Faction podcast, or BifPod for short. Let's talk about, you just had an anniversary, right? Pretty exciting.
Well, first of all, let's calm it down just a little bit. We want to have reasonable expectations to live up to. Best in the universe, I'm not comfortable with that. So let's back it off just a little bit.
But I said one of the best in the universe. Come on.
Okay, fair enough. It is definitely one of the 200 to 300 best in the universe. That's true.
Very good. Very good.
We just had our second birthday. We started the show in May 2 years ago, and we thought, let's definitely celebrate that, because most projects that I start do not make it past a few weeks, let alone 2 years. And so it was kind of this idea of let's record and let's do an episode. And then we weren't sure what to do because there's not as much 40K being played, and there's not as much 40K to talk about, and there's no tournaments to talk about. So we've had our patrons of the podcast vote on who their favorite guest hosts are. We then had the two of them on, the two top vote getters, which was John Lennon and the Falcon. And so we had them on, and we thought, let's do it on Twitch. Let's do it on video. Let's take fan questions. Let's interact with the listeners. And we did that. And the problem with that is it was so much fun is I now wonder if we're just going to have to record live from now on.
Which would be cool. I would be all for it. And the show was great. You guys were a lot of fun. So also, just between you and me, Peter is hilarious. Like John is a good host, don't get me wrong, but the Falcon is one of the funniest people on the planet. I'm not even kidding. Like,
unreasonably so. Unreasonably so. The leaving in the middle and coming back wearing a Murloc costume, nothing had been talked about. No one had suggested that. He just had planned for it. He had it ready. He left in the middle of us recording, came back wearing a Murloc costume. And it was great because Mitch was in a very long story, and he doesn't look at the camera when he's telling long stories. And then he looks up and he goes, wait, what? What happened? Which was really great. We actually made a point of telling stories. That's what we made a point of. We made a point of talking about our experiences with 40K and what we had enjoyed. It ended up just by kind of being a bunch of friends talking about 40K rather than let's help you get prepped for a tournament, right? And that's really what 40K is right now, right? It's an opportunity to talk more than it is an opportunity to play.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. So, like, I've had this discussion in other miniature games. So, as I don't know if you knew this or not, but I used to play War Machine a lot, and
Hmm.
what we used to tell people all the time was, you go to tournaments the first time to compete and win and test your mettle, and then eventually you just end up going just to hang out with the people, right? So any excuse to get the community together, and we all have our like little sub factions that we hang out in and whatnot, but um and then we connect to each other through this, this medium called podcasting, right? It's pretty exciting, but it's the community is what really makes this hobby special. It's just so much fun just to hang out with people, and sometimes it's gentle ribbing, sometimes it's not so gentle. Sometimes it's just talking about theories that you have, and then this is one of those times where we're kind of in that theory mode because there's no practice. So
Well, I do still really enjoy playing the game, and for me, it was all about the idea of turn-based strategy that keeps my brain going, keeps me engaged, and doesn't require me to have the reflexes that my 13-year-old has at first-person shooters. So that is important to me, but I have noticed as I get older how important it is that I get to talk to everybody, and I get to see my friends, and I get to talk, and I get to share my life with them, and have them share their life with me. I have noticed that that becomes more and more important as tournaments go on, and I am absolutely missing that. There's people that are people I really love spending time with that I only see at tournaments, and some of them I haven't even talked to in months at this point. So that's certainly you're certainly right. It ends up being the super social thing. So that's kind of the way the podcast has to pivot, right? It has to turn into friends talking because there isn't. I mean, we did talk about the new Grey Knight rules, and we talked about no, I'm sorry, not the new Grey Knight rules, the new Deathwatch rules. We talked about the new Deathwatch rules and other new rules, but really, there's not a lot of content to talk about the game. So instead, we told stories. We talked about broken things in second and third edition, and learning about the game and getting into the game and stories like that. Yeah, and it was really even more fun than I thought.
yeah, no, because it's just a real conversation, and conversations are interesting, right? So I think that's what's really cool about it. And I'd just like to encourage you guys to keep on trucking, because like I said, you're one of the best content producers that I know, and I'm not just blowing smoke. I believe I'm a patron of your guys.
John
And
knows
so
a lot of content producers.
I know some, but
Oh,
the truth is, I think you guys have very good personalities, and you're a lot of fun, but you're also very knowledgeable. So anybody looking to get better at the game or just enjoy listening to some banter talking about 40K should definitely check out BifPod. It's worth the investment in time. This anniversary episode is perfect because it sort of encapsulates what you guys are kind of about, but it's just fun, right? So
and probably if you wanted to watch this episode, probably do it on YouTube would be the easiest. And I don't know why YouTube doesn't let us have short links like everywhere else does, but you should just search for BifPod, BIFPOD on YouTube, and you'll find us. It's not like it's twitch.tv/BifPod, but for some reason, YouTube doesn't want us to have easy to remember URLs.
fair enough. All right. Well, thanks again, Colin. Appreciate you taking some time, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, bye now.
And that was Colin Sherman from BifPod. You should definitely go check out their birthday celebration. Peter the Falcon dressed up like a Murloc. It just can't be missed. let's move up to the next part of the program where we talk about Adam Abramowitz and the Army Painters Initiative to make hand sanitizer. Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org. Welcome back. The Army Painter, purveyors of everything you ever needed to get your armies on the table, had major plans for expansion this year. Equipment was bought, space in the factory was set up. They were going to have a major push and a major expansion. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit. And so they were sitting on this equipment and these plans, and they thought, there's a better use. So thus Nordic Shield was born. I chat with Adam Abramowitz about how it came about, and he gives a ton of great insight. And as an added bonus, he even tells us about a new product that sounds pretty cool. Hello, Mr. Abramowitz from the Army Painter. Let's talk a little bit about Nordic Shield. I know last time you came on the show, you had talked about your plans to launch it. Now it's officially launched. You guys have gotten hand sanitizer in the hands of students. You want to talk a little bit about how that's going and where you guys are at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a very exciting time. It was a scary time for us when we first ventured into producing hand sanitizer. As I told you, when you were kind enough to have me on the show before to talk about it, we had the ability to do it and we felt the need to. We just didn't know, even at that time, how great the need was. So we went about getting the raw ethanol from a local gin distiller and producing our own hand sanitizer with E vitamins and aloe vera, glycerin, all these great things. 80% alcohol content, which is usually it's right around 20% more than what's standard on the market, and it's what the WHO and the CDC recommends to kill viruses like COVID-19, the coronavirus. So we didn't just make hand sanitizer, we made one of the most powerful hand sanitizers on the market today. We were able to donate free hand sanitizer to local schools in Denmark so that kids returning to school as they open back up the nation were able to go to school and have clean hands so they could focus on learning and nothing else. And, for anybody that has, children at home at this point in time, it's affecting them greatly. I know even my now just turned 5-year-old, she knows what the coronavirus is, and she has that in the back of her mind every day. So if we could just take a little bit of the load off for these kids as they go back to school, then we feel like our job is accomplished. But we've gotten to the point now where we're ready to distribute and find this new product, the Nordic Shield, into the distribution channels where it can find the areas that it's needed most, places like New York, places like Spain that have been hit the absolute hardest. And it's even more important now as states and countries are reopening that we have clean hands, because doctors still say that that's the number one way to protect yourself from COVID-19. So that's really exciting.
What I think is really cool about it is because it's going to be distributed by game store distributors like,
Right.
ACD and the like. Your game store is going to be able to get a hold of this high quality sanitizer just with the normal everyday orders that they make.
Exactly.
So it gives them access to providing a safe environment for us gamers, because we like to hang out at the game store. So I think it's going to be a really big deal. So maybe just if you guys are listening to this, ask your game store to inquire about getting it, because it's like Adam said, it's a high quality sanitizer, and it's actually a very difficult thing to get a hold of. So
Yeah, it is.
I know when I go to Walmart, the shelves are pretty much empty. So
my wife is a dentist and she works in the healthcare field, and she has a very difficult time and has for months getting her hands on hand sanitizer, let alone other personal protection equipment for her and her staff. So for the game stores, it chances are it's going to be slightly differently branded. It might not be the Nordic Shield. It might be the Army. We're not quite sure how we're going to do it, but it's definitely going to be very game and nerd focused, which we're very excited about. It's going to come in our standard 18 milliliter bottles. So, when you're sitting there, you got to think about it. When we're playing a game like Warhammer 40K or, X-Wing, we're touching each other's models, we're touching each other's dice, we're touching the same terrain. We've got our hands on the mats, we're high-fiving. We come in contact with each other quite a bit as we're playing these games. So it's very important that we keep ourselves sanitized and clean so we're not transferring this virus from gamer to gamer. So yeah, we're definitely very excited. We do know a couple of distributors have picked up several thousand bottles. So when the game stores are ready and able to open, they will be able to stock it and keep it on their shelves.
very cool. Well, let's change gears a little bit. From what I understand, Army Painter is in the middle of a huge expansion, which includes moving to bigger manufacturing facilities. So congratulations on that. And then also, I wondered if you wanted to give our listeners maybe a sneak peek of some cool new products that are coming down the pipe.
Oh, I love to talk about new products, Sean. You hit me right in the feels, because that's my favorite thing to talk about. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are in the middle of a big expansion. This was planned before pre-COVID, and we were very concerned that we weren't going to be able to do it because nobody knew what was going to happen to sales. And we've had a few strong years. We've been working really hard to grow the Army Painter presence in the global market, and we've done a very good job of that. I like to say when I started at the company only 3 years ago, I was the 17th hire. Now we have over, I believe, 35 new employees. We were working out of a facility that they had been in since year one. They started in Beau's Shed literally his red shed on his property. They were fulfilling orders for quick shade and battlefields, and then color primers happened. And when we came out with color primers, the business grew a great deal in year 1, year 2. And we've been in that same facility, but we've overgrown it. We couldn't expand into it any further. We went from just a few hundred square feet to almost taking over the entire complex, and we've had nowhere to grow. The best thing that you can for anybody that's warehousing and distributing product is lots of headspace, and we had very little headspace at this location. So we're excited. We're moving from Herning, Denmark to Skanderborg, and this new facility is great. It's solar powered, which is awesome. So we've got solar panels in the front of the building. It's much larger. You're going to have great gaming space, which we're really excited about. And it's just been very exciting to be a part of the growth of this company and to see this company succeed. Part of that growth, that pending growth that enabled us to produce the hand sanitizer to begin with, was the fact that we purchased a second machine to produce paints. We were going to double our output of paint for the global market. And because we had this second machine just waiting to be assembled and built, we said, okay, let's build this now and let's make hand sanitizer with it, which has been really cool.
That's Adam, and you should all go support the Nordic Shield by following them on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. Okay, folks, who's excited? It's that special time of the show where we get to get a jingle stuck in your head for the rest of the day and highlight a super cool model. That's right, it's Model of the Day time.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day.
I'm so pumped this week to be highlighting Mech Daddy from Gear Guts Mech Shop. Holy cow, is this guy huge, towering over 2 feet tall and built with, maybe a bazillion bits. This is a highly technical term, clearly. It's a testament to having a vision and executing it. He's an imposing figure on any battlefield and must be seen to be believed. But don't take my word for it. Just head over to our Facebook page and see for yourself. Mech Daddy definitely subscribes to the old orc adage, more DACA, as he is absolutely bristling with weaponry. What a beast. Now, if you have a model that you think should be featured on the show, or have you seen a model that you think is super cool and has inspired you in some way, we want to hear about it. So just let us know at 40K Today, and we will highlight them on the show during this Model of the Day segment. And that's it for another day in 40K. Thanks so much for joining us. A special big thanks to our content producer, Alex Boehner, our social media guru, Tanya Gates, and our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, for all their hard work once again in putting this program together. Don't forget to enter our Mega 40K giveaway competition. It's super easy to enter at 40kprizes.com, and there's a ton of great stuff to be won. Also, don't forget to enter the secret word, Daily 40K, to get 5 bonus entries into the contest. Make sure you join us tomorrow, where we have the amazing Skari tell us all about them insane clowns, the Harlequins, and what they got in a psychic awakening. We'll see you tomorrow. But until then, for Steve Joel, I'm John Damaris, and that's what's happening in 40K Today.